We will also thereafter hear from family members, affected family members, as well as individuals who have borne the brunt of being held in torture chambers without trial, but fortunately have been released, albeit with grave injuries to themselves. So may we have Benjamin Katana address us on the issue pertaining to the legal front, what has gone on there. And after we hear from the affected family members or individuals, we will open the space to the public. Over to you.
If you will permit,
yes.
If I may ask, if I may request.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for permitting my interjection. Just before the criminals interrupted our network, you had asked me to reiterate my answer since many people did not get to hear me. So with your permission, I could use just a minute or two.
Perfectly. Please use 3.
Thank you very much. Well, just to reassert it that we are without a doubt in a reign of terror. Leave alone what has been happening under closed doors and in concealment, where so many people have been abducted, killed. But this, at least, the regime has had the decency to conceal it. And you can give it to General Museveni. But what we have is a fully blown out reign of terror, where General acceptance by himself that is the one who did it. But we are in a time where he tortures our people and brags. Case in point is the ongoing torture of Eddie Mutwe, who's abducted. We used to hear that Idi Amin and Obote regimes were gross human rights abusers, but this we are seeing in real time. As we speak right now, our brother could be undergoing torture if he's still alive. This is a situation that calls for the attention and action of every Ugandan. And I must conclude by saying that we are not approaching this matter as the National Unity Platform alone, but as human beings, as Ugandans, because every Ugandan is at risk of this. I thought I should make it very clear. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Very well said, Honorable Kyagulanyi. Thank you for that update. I wonder whether Lewis might have anything to add in that respect to the articulate brief that the President has made before we hear from Benjamin Katana. I request the production team once again to make Benjamin Katana a speaker so that we can hear from what has been going on the legal front.
Yeah, Comrade Karamaji, I'm failing to identify Comrade Katana. If you could request, that would be really good. Thank you.
Okay, Benjamin, if you can hear, please push the request button and my colleague in production will help put you up. Is my co-host, Dr. Judith Nalukwago, here? If she is...
Yes, I am here.
Great. Good to have you. So... Okay. Benjamin has requested. Please allow him. Okay. Go ahead, Benjamin. What has happened on the legal front? Have we exhausted all options? What's the state of play? Over to you, Mr. Katana.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you very much, everyone who has joined this space, the solidarity space, with our brother Eddie Mutwe, who is in illegal detention and probably undergoing a lot of torture, just like the pictures we have seen suggest. The starting point is that we are dealing with a government that has descended into a criminal enterprise, and therefore rule of law is a far cry. We have had court orders ignored. The other day, the Human Rights Commission issued a release order in respect to our detained brother Ed Mutwe, but to date it has been ignored by the army and particularly the Chief of Defense Forces, who has confessed as having him in his basement. Similarly, we have had so many court orders, habeas corpus orders, unconditional release orders ignored. Our approach has been that the only solution to oppression is resistance. And while I have been asked to speak as a lawyer, I would want to emphasize generally that this is not in respect to lawyers, but to everyone that is involved in this fight for the restoration of rule of law in our country. That 50 years ago, at the height of the operations of State Research Bureau and other agencies, Ugandans sat in different rooms to discuss how to resist and overcome a brutal and killer regime that the regime of the day had become. Today we are meeting here, and probably we should meet in several other places to make sure that we all put in effort to make sure that we bring an end to this brutal rule. So our approach has been to use the spaces available in courts of law and other agencies. In the case of Ed Mutwe, we have filed a writ of habeas corpus. We are yet to get the order from court, just like we have filed for several other people. The Secretary General talked about the case of Masereka, but they talked about the case of the missing persons, talked about the various people who were abducted during the 2021 presidential elections, and several other Ugandans that have been illegally arrested, abducted, and detained since around 2019. Our approach has been to make sure that for every person whose information comes to our attention, we file applications in court for habeas corpus, for unconditional release, and things of that nature. Many times we have had cases drag on. Many times we have had cases not being fixed. Many times we have had court orders given and ignored, especially by the security forces, which is not strange considering the criminal enterprise that we are dealing with, that the NRM government has become. My call to the people on this space is that we must organize. Those who are able to go to court like we are doing should go to court. Those who are able to organize in their different places of operation must organize, so that we build pressure, disempower the regime, so that it can give in to the demands of the people of Uganda. Where the courts of law we are doing, there are even efforts at international level. You remember the complaint we filed with the ICC and several others. So yes, the legal approaches, the approaches that are aimed at getting legal solutions are being undertaken, but these must be supplemented by political activism that will build the necessary pressure on the regime to even let the institutions like courts and Uganda Human Rights Commission and others that we have mentioned to be able to exercise their mandate under the Constitution to give orders, but even when these orders have been given, to give them life, because it's one thing to have orders from courts of law, it's another for these orders to be meaningful. What does it help if a person being detained, even when an order is issued, this person, the order is ignored, the person remains in detention, the family has no idea where this person is, and then you have a court order. It more or less becomes useless. So we must be able to build sufficient pressure from wherever we are standing, so that the regime can let these institutions be independent, exercise their mandate. When they issue orders, let these orders be respected, so that the rights of the citizens of Uganda can be respected regardless of where they stand politically.
Great. We appreciate you, Benjamin, for that elaborate update And I thank you also I take note of you saying that this is beyond just a legal question. It is political. It requires the participation of citizens, even beyond what the laws and court processes come with. At this point, would like to put a human face to this discussion that we're having, and I will request in the following order, Shifra, who is with Eddie Mutwe's mother, to give her the mic so that she can share with us about the ordeal that the family is going through. We will then hear from Kavuma Jamshid, who is a previous victim of torture, who underwent a very grisly ordeal that was subjected to him. And then we'll hear from Judith, who's the wife to Damulira, who has been missing since 2020. We will also hear from Ajmaru, who is with the mother of Kasim Sehude, who was detained alongside Eddie Mutwe. So the first person we'd like to call and request our colleagues in production is Shifra, who is here. Please make Shifra a speaker so that we can hear from Eddie Mutwe's mother. And for the benefit of, do we have Shifra here?
Yeah, she's there. I'm trying to connect her, but...
Are you physically proximate with her? Are you where she is?
No, I'm not where she is. I'm trying to connect her account. But...
not be a speaker, so they should just allow us, Shifra Lukundo. She has already requested to be a speaker.
Okay. There's thousands of requests, so I hope the production can sift through and find Shifra. As soon as that happens.
Okay, she is a speaker now.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Shifra. Yes.
I'm with Eddie Mutwe's mother, but she's requesting that she speaks in Luganda.
It's okay. Mama webale nnyo okulaba abantu abali ku lukungana buno bali mu 10 z'abantu abali mu Uganda ne mu nsi endala. Twagala okuwulira kiki kye muyiseemu nga family ya munnaffe mukulu Edward Sebufu, era nekyoyagala abannayuganda n'abalala batuuliza bategeere ebiruubirwa byo ngeri gy'olaba embeera gye tulimu ffenna nga bannayuganda naddala mmwe ab'enju ya Sebufu Eddie. Maama tukwaniriza, genda mu maaso.
Kale ssebo niyanzizza mwenna abali ku mukutu guno. Okuva Eddie bwe yakwatibwa 27 weeks 2 ng'emabega nali ku kitanda nga ndi mulwadde era nga yanzijanjaba n'abaana bange abamu. Then nalina akamala okutereeramu katono ngenda okuwulira omwana wange omu nangulibula ku makya ngenda okuteekako ekiti, ngenda okugenda ku Facebook nga ndaba Lumbu yayogera agamba Eddie Mutwe yawambiddwa nga ndowooza oba bya bulimba. Nenziramu nensoma ngenda okubikula buli wamu omutima ne gunzigwamu. Enkubira omwana wange nemugamba Martha, wabadde oyagala kuŋŋamba bya Eddie? Nangamba ye maama, naye nadde saagala kutiisa nga njagala osooke weebaka okere ku makya otegeere nga pressure erinza okulinnya. In fact era yalinnya. Naye tusaba omwami Muhoozi alina omwana wange, atuwa omwana waffe. Omwana waffe tumwagala, n'abalala bonna abasibiddwa abatalina musango tufune obwenkanya, at least kale amutwale mu kooti waba alina kye yakola oba omusango gwonna bamuvunaane, tumanye nti ali mu kkomera gindi tusobola omulabako. Naye tetumulabako, opostinze ali bwereere, tayambadde kumuswaza mu baana be, n'ensi yonna okumulaba nti Eddie Mutwe afaanana bw'atyo. Omusajja yali alabika obulungi. Era tusaba n'obwombeefu bungi batuwe omwana waffe. Embeera gye tulimu si nnungi. Abaana jjukira mami bajji waabwe yabadde maama ye taata. Yanoonya ekyokulya. Nange nze kennyini mmaze ebbanga kati wiiki zinga 3 sikola. Era yabadde ambeererawo okusinga. Wekubira maama oli otya maama kutiti maama najja nakulambula buli lwava okukola. Kati simulabako. Neweebaka n'obuuza oba alidde oba talidde oba amukuba oba bakola ki. N'abaana tuli wano ffenna tunyolwa buli mwana buli lwajja ewaffe n'obatumulira nga bonna beeyonziseemu kye banange nga sirina kyabbagamba. Tunyolerwa wamu ffenna. Gavumenti tusaba ota abaana baffe tebalina misango. Ensi erigamba etya abantu abo abaana baabwe. Abaana b'abantu bano bali kulaba atya ne babagamba nti omulembe guno we gwatta kitaawo oba gwe gwatulugunya taatawo oba gwe gwamugyamu eriiso oba gwe gwamumenya emikono oba amagulu. Tuli tugamba tutya abaana. Era abaana bagenda kula batya nga katulinawo wano abaana eti kalengezezza ku bange. Batuma muli bawulira nga twogera bino bagamba ye omulembe guno gwe gukola gwe gwatulugunya taata waffe n'abaana abalala bwe batyo. Ensi esaasira abantu. Tunyolwa tukaaba. Bato omwana waffe.
Webale nnyo mami okwogera n'obuvumu obwo. Era byogedde byonna wano tulaba nga abantu bakkaanya naawe. For the benefit of those who are not fluent or conversant with Luganda, there are 5 bullet points that Mr. Eddie Sebufu's mom has made, which is 1, she got the news as she was recovering from an illness and has been disturbed throughout. Her blood pressure shot up, and she's also imploring the authorities, specifically General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who has openly confessed to detaining Mr. Sebufu in an ungazetted location, to have him arraigned in court if at all there is a charge for which there's any crime for which he is being held. She's also called that for all political detainees or prisoners to be released beyond just the fact of her son. She is distraught about the way in which he has been treated, the humiliating pictures that have been shared, the obvious mistreatment that he's been subjected to. She can't stop thinking about his situation and how he's doing, whether he's eaten, whether he's slept well, and all that. And finally, she notes with grave concern about how these children will grow up in a kind of world that is a complete opposite of what they've otherwise grown up to know. So next, we will hear from Kavuma Jamshid, who's also a previous victim, and I request production to have him up. And in the interest of time, as you make Kavuma Jamshid a speaker, also do that for Judith, Damlira's wife. Yes, and then Kasim Sebude's mother will also speak to us before we come to the rest of the audience. So I'm requesting our colleagues in the back room to give the mic to Kavuma Jamshid. Yes, he's requested. His handle is, I believe that's
at Jamshid Kavuma.
Yes.
I've sent him a request. I don't know whether he's seen it.
Jamshid Kavuma, please accept the request and speak to us. Okay, as Kavuma Jamshid does that, have you also sent a request to Judith?
No, she's not called Judith, but she's my neighbor, so I've sent the request. I think they will get in. It's Muchala Damulira. the husband disappeared in 2020. Up to now, he's never been seen. He was abducted, and she's going to speak through the account of Kakande Chirumira.
Okay, Kakande Chirumira. Yes, you have the.
So he's already on. I don't know whether I can start.
Yes, I can see Kakande Chirumira. I can also see Kavuma Jamshid. Let's hear from Kakande Chirumira, and then we will proceed to hear from Jamshid. Kakande, over to you. Feel free to use, as the previous speaker has, to use a language of your convenience. Go ahead, Kakande. Kakande, over to you.
Kakande, please unmute.
Okay, he has unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, now you can speak.
Nange nsangiddwa n'obuzibu bw'okubanga abantu abo batuwambirwa abantu baffe.
Yes,
tusangiddwa nga tulina obulumi nga bw'owulya nti obulumi okutuwambiranga abantu baffe ate ne bamala ne babeegaana abantu baffe. Nze mukyala Ddamulira nina obuzibu bwe nasanga okubalira bwanga bbaawa.
Nyabo tukuwulira, genda mu maaso okutuyogera ku bawamba bbaawo.
Obuzibu bwange bwe nasanga okubala bawamba bbaawo wange Ddamulira John Esalaama mukyala benze njogera naye empise mu bulumi obutajja kugamba nti kyona kiri naye twebuuza abantu baffe bawambanga baaki naye ng'owamba omuntu.
Mama mukyala Ddamulira wali tunyonyodde kyekyaliwo baawe bamusanga bamutwala ddi n'ebirala.
Mukyala Ddamulira John bamujja wa Kiseka ku dduuka lye ne bamutwala 2022. Emyaka 5 gigenda kuwera nga 21 Novemba. Omusajja okuva le bamutwala 2020. Kati okuva le batwala Ddamulira ogwo omwaka gwe bamutwala mpaka olwaleero tetuddangamu kulaba Ddamulira. Tutuuse mu makooti ag'enjawulo makomera batugamba talabikako. Kyokka ate nga Museveni ogwolaba yasoma Ddamulira n'agamba nti amuyina ate bwe yamala yamwegaana ate ne bamala ne bavunika fayiro zaffe butambuza tebatubulya amazima g'ekiki ekituufu bakimanyi naye Museveni abantu baffe abatwala wa. Lwaki atubonyaabonya okutuuka ku kino? Musajja n'akulagala otwala omuntu ng'omumanyi tiwe gw'otutte olowooza olumizza bameka. Olumizza famire omuntu omu oyo gwolaba yebadde empagi ya famire yonna. Abaana be, maama we, n'abalala. N'embeera gye tuyitamu. Nze mukyala Ddamulira nina embeera gye mpitamu lwakuba nze nawulira nga sitalina na bigambo bye njagala nakwogera kuba byanzigwako. Naye Museveni twakola ki? Abalala n'ogamba abantu 18 wabeegaana musajja gwe otutambuza ppaka. Tobayina ate obayina ate sibayina tibiki. Kati tukole kitutuukirewo okutuuka ku kino. Makomera tebaliyo ate gwe wabatwala abasirikale bwe batwala abantu lwaki temutukyasira ne mutuwa abantu baffe naffe tuba mu nnaku eno. Notuuka kubanga abaana bo bakusaba taata wammwe taata kati nafuuka mama ne taata lwaki mbeeramu eyo embeera. Gwe mumanyi kyempitamu olwokuba ofuluma mu nju ne bagamba nti ogenze naye nga nekyogenda okunoonya tokimanyi naye nga abaana bo abamu batudde waka tebasoma ate n'okunanga kyekyo kulwala bikoze bitya. Lwaki Museveni otubonyaabonya? Lwaki tutuwa abantu baffe? musajja gwe tukwegayiridde tukaabye biweddeyo nagasangula nengajjako saalina gansangula okoleka gwe ng'okutte ku makya n'ogamba mukazi gwe nkwadde abantu maama w'omusajja oyo ddamulira yalekeraawo okwogera ayogera ekintu kimu omwana wange omwana waki omukuntusa kweyo embeera naawe nkwe omusajja gwe tozaalanga tolina abantu tolina bazzukulu kiki otubonyabonya okutuuka ku mbeera bweki musajja gwe Museveni tuyambe tuwa abantu baffe naye ng'okimanyi wafukamira ku makya nga maama wakuzaala nakuteeka ebweru kiki kitwakola ekyo tusaasira abaana bo ne bakoma ne bakulisaayo kyokka nga bakulisira nnyo kava tekalimu yadde mutwalo ekintu kyesirinda omutwalo ebintu obataddemu omugaati naye gwe musajja gwe tusaasire tukwegayiridde buno obulumi kubanga tulinga abazaala essaawa zino abali emakomera bate n'abawambi babajjeeyo ate era nkwegayiridde abatalina musango bantu bajje mu makomera baleete mu kkooti bawozebwe naye nga mukazi wa ddala yasindika abaana bakuze ne taata naye gwe olina eddala ekisa musajja gwe kitotusaasira tuyita mu bulumi lwaba totumanyi bwe tuli bubi kubanga sigwe katonda katonda yateekawo abantu babiri n'agamba nti kibaawukanya kuba kufa naye ate gwe watwawukanya sigwe katonda tetwajja kuteeba nti gwogere twawukanya kuba tutwagattibwa katumanyi nti munnange agenze nina amaalo gambula nina balaga ki n'amala lusigalina nange bwe nalindaga nti bati wonna mugambuddewo nange nti okunteekawo obumu tulwala tumunaabonyezebwa oye bannange Museveni enkwegayiridde taata tuwa abantu baffe tusaba abali mu makomera munnange bate kale bo babalabako naye nabo bate bajje bawozebwe nayefe ababuzibwawo emyaka 5 ddala omuntu wa muno
Mama tunyolwa wamu naawe n'abaana bo olw'okubuzibwawo okwa bawo mwami Damulira John era ndowooza abantu bonna bawulidde era tusuubira ne buno obubaka bujja kutuuka kwabo bekikwatako. Again, for the benefit of those who might not comprehend Luganda, this is John Damulira's wife. As you can probably tell, she is disconsolate and she has talked about the situation in which she's going through, including the fact that she is completely, going through indescribable heartache. She has to play the role of mother and father because her husband has been missing for close to 5 years now, having been picked up from his shop in Kampala and has never been seen again. She doesn't know anymore what to say or what answers to give to her children when they ask about their father. She's also said, rather concerningly, that one of her children has been affected by the withdrawal syndrome. That child only speaks a word or two and that's it, and does not talk. This withdrawal having been brought on by the disappearance of the father for close to 5 years now. Next, we have Kavuma Jamshid to share his personal experience as an abductee who was fortunate enough to make it out alive from the dungeons of the torture chambers, such as where Eddie Mutwe is being held. Jamshid, if you are here, please accept the mic and okay, go ahead. I see you. Please share. And like the others, feel free to speak in a language of your convenience.
Okay. Bannange oba mumpulira.
Sitebo tukuwulira genda mu maaso tukulya bulungi nnyo.
Tukuwulira sewa.
genda maaso ssebo tukuwulira.
Network entawanya. Bannange neyanziza omukisa guno okunteekako wano. Sijja kwogera Luzungu kuba erinnya linnuma liyinza okugira. So kanjogere mu Luganda lwentegeera.
Oh dear. We have a challenge with Jamshid because he keeps coming on and going off. So I will line up as we wait for him to sort that glitch out. I will now ask Ajmaru, who is with the mother of Kasim Sepude, who was arrested alongside Eddie Mutwe. So Ajmaru, if you are here. To my co-host, Dr. Nalukwago,
I've tried to look for his hand, or I can't see it.
Okay.
I can send a request, then I let him
speak. Ajmaru, if you are here, please send a request to speak and you will be allowed to do so. Okay, while we wait for Ajmaru to share, because those two will be the last people to speak before we hear from the audience, members of the audience. And as we get ready to do that, production is already okay. Kavuma, you are here. Katusabo itemu bwangu otuse obubaka. Oh dear. Okay. For Jamshid, just so that his story is not lost in the weeds of this network challenge, I will request Benjamin, if he's still here, to share Jamshid's audio in a minute, so that we afford him the audience that he deserves, and then we will open the floor to the audience to share. Benjamin, if you may.
He seems muted.
Yeah, Benjamin, if you're speaking, you are muted.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, Andrew.
Yeah, we have Jamshid is having network connection issues. So as counsel, who I'm sure have handled this file amongst the numerous others that you've handled, you could give us a brief on Jamshid's ordeal. Thank you.
Yeah. Jamshid was brutally arrested and in fact shot in the leg at the time of arrest. He was held incommunicado for a number of days. Jamshid was brutally arrested and in fact shot in the leg at the time of arrest. He was held incommunicado at the time of arrest, and we applied for habeas corpus, but when the state was served, they produced him in court and charged him with malicious damage to the vehicle that the security personnel who came to arrest him were moving in. And the question of it, because the offense with which he was charged did at the time they were trying to arrest him. Eventually, they did not pursue the case like it has been with the rest. And to give this proper context is that most of our people, most of our colleagues have been arrested on trumped-up charges. They are held for a number of days, eventually produced in court sometimes. And when they get bail, the matter never comes up for trial. 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. Why? Because the state has no evidence and they are just holding them on trumped up charges, basically for purposes of persecuting them.
Get the final speaker on the panel so that he can share as well. Kasim Sebude's mother, who is with Ajmaru. If you are here, please either request and then we can hear from you and move to the audience. We will select speakers, but before we do that, please note that you have exactly a minute. We have Yes, please. My colleague in production, go ahead.
No,
I
have we
cannot
opened?
see Ajmal's.
Yes, the producer. What?
Oh, sorry, I was just saying I cannot see the. Oh, I was saying I cannot see the hand. Also, I think we can go to the audience because I can't find the hand of Ajmal. I failed to get it, and he's also not sending a request to communicate with him.
Okay, this space has 7,507 people right now. My colleague, my co-host, will choose speakers from the audience, and I invite her to do so. But before that, I see a hand from our colleague in the back room. You have something to say?
No, you've opened up to the public, so I had a couple of questions. I don't know if I can go first for the 1 minute.
Or that were written to you, or your own questions?
My own questions.
Okay, great. Since you are in production, we will hear from you. Let's first have the rest of the audience share, and then we will come to you in production. I hope that's fine. Okay. Dr. Judith Nalupago, please choose speakers. Sasi, you're saying something?
Yeah. I was saying I'm seeing Jamshid back online. I know he has just disappeared, but he had briefly returned online. I also wanted to supplement on what Councillor Katana was saying earlier. Jamshid, for many who don't know, was actually at the scene when they were abducting Eddie Mutwe last Sunday. And he was, I thought he was going to come and give us a brief of what transpired that fateful evening. He might have given us a description of some of the faces that he saw, and one of those faces is a bulky gentleman. No offense meant. It's one of the bulky gentlemen that keeps following our president everywhere he goes, at home, at the headquarters in Kapule, and literally everywhere. So it's quite unfortunate that Jamshid is not here, but let me see if I can reach out to him to what the issue is.
Actually, if it helps, I was just talking to Jamshid a while ago, and I could call him and ask him to speak through my phone, so he can be able to communicate with the rest of the masses here.
Sure, please.
Okay, allow me just a minute.
Okay, as Dr. Nalukwago lines up her choice of speakers, we have allocated 20 minutes to this slot. All of us stick to the 1 minute rule. We will be able to put in as many people, probably even more than 20, since we're using a minute each. Honorable Kyagulanyi, is Jamshid ready to talk?
And
yes.
Jamshid now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Jamshid kwoli ku line. Era bayiriza bulungi nnyo ssebo.
Kale kangende maaso. Bannange baganda bange mwenna abali wano mwebale kubeerawo, mwebale kukuŋŋaana mu bungi w'emuti ku nsonga y'abaganda baffe abawambibwa ne muganda waffe Eddie Mutwe, kuba eno ensonga ewomeddwamu omutwe nga ya Eddie Mutwe n'eyindi. Kansooke ndowooza ntandikire ku nsonga zange nga nze nawambibwa ennaku z'omwezi nga 5 ogw'Okwakumi, 2022. Nasangibwa Masanafu ku kifo bakiyita Gladiator Paradise. Abasajja we banzija najjira mu drone yali taxi, wabula ffe twali tumanyi nti taxi eya bulijjo ng'erimu ebikubo bya taxi byennyini ng'eriko n'akatanda waggulu. Kati abasajja abo we bajja okunkamba, like nagezaako okudduka, kati bwe nali nziruka ne bamukuba essasi mu kugulu. Baali baagala kummenya kugulu, wabula okugulu tebaakola ki, tebaakumenya. So bamala okunkuba essasi ne bansika ne banteeka mu drone, omusaayi nga guyiika mungi, nga bansibye empingu ne baŋŋamba nti nyambulemu essaati ng'olwedde ndi ku mpingu nga ndi ku handicrafts, nzijemu essaati ate gye mbansiba ku kugulu. kati nga neebuuza essaati ngenda gijjamu ntya ng'ate olwedde ndi ku mpingu ndyoka ate ngisibe ku kugulu. Waliwo awo omu n'asumulula empingu nenzigyamu essaati nengisiba ku kugulu omusaayi guleme kuyikamu ndi. So awo ne batubeezaawo, waliwo ne bannange be bantwala nabo baalinga 3. Kati batuvuga mu drone ekiro ekyo tegeera na gye tulaga naye wabula we twali tugenda, buli we twali tugenda tuyimirira. To cut the story short, nga bantuusa ku Ssemwayi Embuya wadde nali simanyiyo obudde obwo, wabula bwe bantwalayo ne banteeka mu godown wansi eyo. Bwe banteeka mu godown okirira amadaala bw'oti eno waggulu omuntu akuumayo aba n'emmundu ng'agitunuzza wansi. Kati mu godown bw'oba okkirira kuliko akuuma bwe kati kaliko empingu zisinga layini. Kati ez'empingu abantu abasinga like we bakutuusa ng'oli mulamu nga tolinga nze abakubiddwa essasi mu kugulu oba ng'osobola okuyimira obulungi ku mpingu ezo n'obeerako ennaku nga 3 emisana n'ekiro. Bwe kuba kufuka ofuka awo, ebbaketi bagikuleetera awo w'ofuka. Okulya emmere ogiriisa mimwa, ekiwani bagikwata bukwasi n'oliisa emimwa ng'oli ku mpingu waggulu. Ne kakati baŋŋamba waliwo n'omuntu omu eyafiirako kweza empingu. Kati nga bannyingiza eyo munda mu basement. Bwe nayingira mu basement eyo mu godown waliyo abasibe bo gye bali bangi, naye mainly kye nasinga okulaba ndowooza n'Abaganda mwe babatwalira, kubanga ate oba musiraamu ng'oli Muganda kisukka. Kuba nali ndi awo nga naakamalayo ndowooza ennaku nga 3, ne wabaawo omusiraamu akolera awo Katwe ku ttaawo awo ettaawo eri wansi abantu gye batera okuyita. Yali atundira awo obuntu buno bucakala nga mutembeeyi. Ne bamuleeta nga talina musango gwonna. Kati bamutuusa eri bamubuuza ebibuuzo nga buli kye bamubuuza takimanyi. Ne bamugamba muyeekera. Baakuba musiraamu emiggo mbigere, yagenda okudda nga takyasobola kulinnya nga yeekulula bwekuluzi ng'atambuza kabini. Bali bakuba. Kubanga ate bakyusaamu mu nkuba, tebakyakuba bino bye mulaba ng'ebyakakwensa bye baamukuba. Kubanga bwe bakuba ebintu ng'ebyo baba bakutereka obeereyo ebbanga paka lw'obeera ng'atereddemu. Kubanga nange banteeka mu Ssemwayi naye nga babataddeko akazito kangi nga bawulira baagala okunta okunzijayo, naye nga baŋŋamba weerwaneko okugulu okwo ekiwundu ekyo kikole kiwone. Tebaagala kuleeta muntu yenna ng'aliko obuvune okumuta okumuzza ebweru. So nga mbeera eyo bwe bannangira bye basinga okukozesa bye bakubisa bakugamba gwe kakati oli wano mugamba mulwanirira ggwanga, gwe mulwanirira ali eri n'abaana be beeyagala, olwo nga bagamba pulezidenti. Kati ate olumala nga bagamba nti oyo gwe mulwanirira ali kimu naffe. Kati n'obabuuza nti ate waaba kimu nammwe kwaba ali nammwe nga mukola naye, lwaki mubeera ate ffe mutukwata ffe abaagala kyaliiwammwe? Kyemugamba kyaliiwammwe temumwagaliza kubeera bulungi kubanga kyaliiwammwe. Kuba ffe we tumubaako tuba tulina omumubimbisa era tumwagale nga bwe mwalikoze bwe mwali kyagadde. Kitegeeza we twagala kyaliiwammwe nammwe tuba tukoze tuba tubaagadde. Naye munnange ng'ekyo emiggo giba givuga eri bakuba emiggo wabaawo egya breakfast, lunch ne supper. Buli omu obudde bwe bwakubirwako emiggo, era omuggo gunyooka ku Ssemwayi eyo. Era bwe nalabye ekifaananyi kya Eddie Mutwe nga sifulumye, nalabye yenna nga bamukubye yenna ulubadde, simanyi oba bamukubisizza biki, kuba eyo feesi ya Eddie Mutwe tefaanana bw'etyo, oli muganda wange mumanyi, naye bamugyeyo yenna ulubadde bw'ati ne mmanya kati ekiri eyo si kyangu. Twongere kumusabira, twongere n'okusabira abalala abali mu Ssemwayi eyo, nga naye ekiriyo si kirungi n'akamu ekibeera eyo. Abasajja batulugunya ebyaddala siriyasi.
Maybe Jamshid wandyagadde oba paintingira ku kifaananyi ku nkwata Eddie Mutwe gye baamukwata engeri gye waliwo. Apologies, moderator.
That's fine. That's fine, Honorable. Go. Jamshid genda maso tubulire kuba waliwo nga bakwata abawamba Eddie Mutwe.
Olunaku olwo twali tugenze ku hakiika mu Busiraamu ogwo omukolo guba gwa kusalira mwana. Buli mwana mu Busiraamu bamusalira. Omuwala bamusalira embuzi emu, omulenzi bamusalira embuzi ebbiri. Waliwo mukyali waffe oba mukwano gwaffe gwe tukuuma naye President bamuyita Isima yatuyita ku mukolo ogwo. Ne tugenda tubeewo ng'abajulizi ku mukolo ng'asalira omwana we. Era naliyo nze Eddie Mutwe, Isima, Swale, gundi Honorable Namboze, Waiswa Mufumbiro, Honorable Waiswa Mufumbiro, bonna baaliyo. N'abo abaana b'emukono baaliyo. So kakati omukolo tukutambuza omukolo guwedde. Ssaawa ng'emu kawungeezi. Buli omu kati ayamuka kudda waka. Tuba tutambula awo tukyali awo mu lujja tunyumyamu abamu batambula bambuka. Kati tuba abamu baba batambula bambuka ku kkubo. Eddie Mutwe emmotoka ye yali agipakinze ku kkubo. Ndowooza yali addayo kulinnya mmotoka ye. Kati tugenda okulaba abaana bakkirira emisinde bakkirira. Eri wansi ku maka gono alinga ali ku lusozi kati bukkirira wali abantu. Kati engeri gye tulina sirikale ba bulijjo tugamba kati so abatalina musango batukwatira ki kubanga okukola pate mu makaago si musango. Netugamba namwe temutotiisatiisa ebyo bye muliko byakusaaga. Kati tusigalawo ffe twali tusigadde awo tuyimiridde kati noonya ngamba Eddie oba aliwa manyi oba akyali wali ewaayisimu kumbe gye yayambuse. Kati tuba tukyali awo tugenda okulaba drone ejja yasala omulundi gumu kuba bwe twali tewaali wala n'ekkubo. Yasala omulundi gumu ng'erimu amataala gaaka nnyo. We yagenda n'esiba omulundi gumu nedda reverse neggala akakubo akaali kakkirira ku maka ga Isimu. Kati we yaggala akakubo ako ffe tudduka nga tukkirira ku kisaalu wansi kumbe ye Eddie abadde ayambuka ku mmotoka. Kati mu kwambuka ku mmotoka bagenda balaba drone ezo nga zizze kuba drone zaali ssatu nga waliwo ne double cabin n'akamotoka akatono. Akamotoka akatono ndowooza ke kalimu oyo omwami. So kati gundi Eddie Mutwe abadduka abulawo n'abo abalenzi be yali nabo okuli oyo Sebudde Kasimu gwe tuyita Kkunta mwana weeyo mukono. Waliwo n'omulala bamuyita Fred. Ndowooza n'oyo omulala gwe bamukwata balinga bana. Kati baba bagenda weebati nga wabaawo omuntu omu ayita nti Eddie Mutwe nga badduka nabo. Kati oyo yayita Eddie Mutwe yaleetera Eddie Mutwe obuzibu. We yamuyita abasirikale ne bamanya nti Eddie akola ki ali eri. Ne bagenda ne bazikookingirawo emmundu. Okimanyi bwe bazikookinga baba baagala kumutta. Musajja wattu naye nakkakkana ne bamutwala. Naye tebamutwala bulungi, bamutwalira ddala mu mbeerembi. Kati ffe olwo tudduse tukkiridde ku kisaalu. Era we natuukayo ku kisaalu nasooka nenkubira President essimu naye ndowooza yali bize teyasobola nenkubira maama nemutegeeza nti Eddie Mutwe bamulidde. Kati tukeeyo ku kisaalu twamalayo ndowooza essaawa nga bbiri tumala tukomawo nga w'abasajja baambuse. Tutuuka mu maka mukyala wa Isima yali yasigaddewo n'abazadde baali basigaddewo mu maka. Kati we tudda nga omukyala atusigira ekifaananyi ng'atugamba waliwo omusajja azze wano abadde munene alina ekirevu ayambadde topi ya black n'ebyambalo byayambadde bya black naye ye nga tali mu uniform ali mu leeya nga munenenene bw'ati. Era nze nakimanyirawo nti oyo muwummuza kubanga ye yali akola ki yatumanyi ffenna atumanyi kuba atutambulyako. Amuza yatuuka ku maka ga Isima n'ababuuza kati nasooka ayimiriza gano amagye ge yali atambula nagamuli emabega abo abaali mu uniform n'abagamba simama. Kati ye n'abeera ng'ayingira mu nnyumba n'alingizaayo bw'ati agenda okulingizaayo ndowooza yali akimye effengolo Eddie gye baamulidde dda ndowooza yali alowooza naffe tukyaliwo. So kati bwe yabagamba simama n'alingizaayo n'amala ne beetooloola awo ennyumba ne bamala ne batambula ne badda mu mmotoka zaabwe ne bakola ki ne bagenda. Naye nga mission eyaliwo naffe ndowooza baali baagala otutwalirako. Katonda yataasa butaasa awo we twawonera ffe.
Yeah.
Over to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Kyagulanyi, for your innovation in calling him and having him get on as he had a network issue. We appreciate him sharing as much. Again, this is the final speaker from the panel, and so I will briefly translate, and this time we'll go to the audience. Jamshid was abducted. He told us about his ordeal. He was abducted in what has now come to be known as a drone, which is usually a minivan. The minivans that have been reconditioned to suit the purposes of abduction, made many stops along the way until he was detained in a place that he later got to know as the dreaded and infamous or notorious Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence Detention Centers, which is a detention center, which is a dungeon. Many people have complained or talked about being held here. He gave us a description of the basement or the dungeon in which people are held, and said if you've been brought in without any major injuries, you are immediately restrained using handcuffs and will spend up to 3 days on those restraints. Calls of nature are to be answered there. You will not be allowed to go somewhere to relieve yourself in a place of convenience. He also said some people have actually died there on those handcuffs. And also, quite disturbingly, that meals are delivered to you there. You have to eat using your mouth, like a dog or another animal would. You're not given the benefit of holding the food or picking it from a plate. The food is brought before you, and then you pick it up with your mouth in such humiliating conditions. He also noted that he observed a high number, disproportionately high number of Muslim detainees. Also talked about a man who was brought in without any particular charge, who was beaten terribly, and described one of the torture methods, which is hitting people under the feet. That is something that we repeatedly hear. He was hit under the feet, and that his own injury, his captors refused to release him until he got better, saying that they cannot release him with evident torture marks, as well as the bullet wound that he sustained when he was shot in the process of being abducted. It's a terrible ordeal that he went through, but that's essentially what he said. His final remarks were about how Eddie Mutwe was abducted, where they'd gone to attend an event for a child who was being named or some such social event, and that's when a drone, the one that I described earlier, came and out of which these armed operatives came, threatened them with guns, and took Eddie Mutwe away. Finally, he makes mention of the presence of a notorious individual called Muhoozi, who is regularly seen trailing Honorable Kyagulanyi and other party leaders and bodyguards of the leadership of the party. This gentleman was present at the scene, and so evidently helped or at least took part in the process of abduction. Dr. Nalukwago, who is your first speaker from the audience? 1 minute.
I've given Dr. Morgan is going to be the first speaker, but strictly 1 minute. Once it clocks a minute, I switch you off. So be as brief as you can. In fact, time yourself. So unmute yourself, please.
I hope I use the 1 minute well. Greetings, everyone listening in. Mr. President, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Sentamu, fellow Ugandans that are listening in. I'm honored to speak to you on this virtual gathering. We are united in solidarity for our brother Edward Sabufu and all other victims of oppression in Uganda. Today we stand together not just for Eddie Mutwe, but for every Uganda yearning for freedom, justice, and dignity from across the last 40 years. Edward Sebufu, who was abducted in Mukono by military men is not an isolated act. It is part of the systematic campaign to silence, dissent, and crush the aspiration of we, the people of Uganda that are yearning for freedom. The chilling confirmation from Muhoozi, the Nepo baby, boasting of how he's holding Eddie in his basement, is a mock of rule of law, a mock to the people of, it is a mockery to the people of Uganda, and it continues to expose the brutality that we have faced for at least for the 30 years ago. But let me say this clearly. They can detain us. Nepo baby, you can detain Eddie, but you can't detain the spirit of change that lives in us. His fight breathes through us.
I think your minute is up, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Nalukwago, is that correct?
I didn't use the minute, but okay. I'll land by reminding the people of Uganda, we know who our enemy is. Our enemy is not the Banyankuri. Our enemy is not the Baganda. Our enemy, just like the president said the other day, is Muhoozi and his power-drunk father. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. Dr. Nalukwago, your next speaker from the audience. Dr. Nalukwago, who else are you giving the mic? Okay, if she's having trouble, I will request a handle that goes by the name The Good Girl at Pliam. Please unmute and go ahead.
Hello, good evening. Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. You have a minute.
Well, thank you for accepting me and thank you for the minute. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. President. Well, since I only have 1 minute, I'll just, send my questionnaire to the president. I think we've cried long enough. I think so many of us here have cried every time these stories are repeated. We're listening and, our hearts are heavy and we feel like we've been on the lamentations for so long. So my question is, what is the next course of action? We need to know what we can do to help the situation because, recently the Uganda Human Rights Commission ordered for the release of Eddie. Everything was ignored. We've called, we've written, we've done everything that I think we've said whatever we have said for so long. I think it's time to do something more than just speaking, more than just listening into people crying. We've cried long enough. So Mr. President, what else can we do? What is the next course of action?
Great.
Me and so many others feel we should do something about this. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Great, thank you. I will now request Dr. Daniel Kauma to share.
Yes, greetings everyone. I recognize our president and our party leadership. On behalf of the diaspora, I greet you all, and I want to use this platform to also repeat the call for the president that what we want to hear now is action. Action, and every diaspora member who is on this platform, I re-echo those sentiments that we need to do our part as a diaspora and hit the streets wherever we are. In the diaspora, we have more liberties, more freedom of speech in many of the territories. So I call on all of you, let's hit the streets, let's demonstrate, let's petition stakeholders to make sure that there's accountability for the regime. The question I have is probably the question many Ugandans have, and we have seen what our neighbors in Kenya have been able to do, where there seems to be more sensitization among the masses to draw the correlation between their plight, their suffering, and the leadership in power. I sense there's there are two things. One may be fear, two comfort among the Ugandan populace, where we seem to be either we have resigned or we are just fearful. If you look at the elections, almost about the section of the voters who turn up is decreasing. We saw what happened in Kawempe. So what more can be done in Uganda to sensitize the masses, to realize that there's more that needs to be done to remove Museveni? Because I feel there's some form of comfort among the young people, and of course even the elites. So when you make a call that let's demonstrate, let's put pressure on our representatives, members of parliament, is it more of an issue of lack of sensitization? Is it an issue of fear? What more can we do as people in the struggle, not just NUP, but people in FDC, NT, and others,
Thank you.
to make sure that we rally our troops together to dethrone Museveni? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kauma. Shamim Nambasa, you have requested. Dr. Shamim Nambasa, please accept the mic and go ahead. Okay, while that happens, Shamim Nambasa, are you there? Okay, if Shamim Nambasa is having challenges, Aiden Kalisa. Aiden Kalisa. Okay, my co-host should have her mic returned so that we can do this together. Okay, Shamim, there you are. Go ahead. Shamim, you have the floor. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrew. Can you confirm that you can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can. You have a minute.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate everyone that is here. And Mr. President, good evening, and good evening to everyone. I just wanted to add my voice to what the good girl has said, Kavuma and everyone else. I think for a very long time, we have kept quiet, and then we see the dictator pushing us to the limits, but then we still do the same things over and over again, and it is very clear that it's only a fool that will do the same thing over and over expecting different results. I'm not saying that we are fools, but I'm saying that maybe it is time for us to change the guard. It is time for us to actually try different means. I think, and what many people here are asking for is what is next? What are we going to do next? So I think it is time that we actually did leave the comfort zones and started to hit the streets. We have seen it when, we said we were marching to parliament, the state was on panic. I think if we did have a sustained fight of the sort, then it would be clear that maybe then we can start to have some answers. I think the level of disrespect that we've been pushed to such extents that they actually come to the secretariat, to our headquarters, and block our events from going on. So it is time for us to actually take action and leave the comfort zones. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. Justice Hunter, that's the name of the handle. Yes, you have a minute. Go ahead. Justice Hunter, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Andrew, and everyone in this space who has shared the ordeal and the way and the status quo of the human rights temperature in Uganda. As Justice Hunter, I'm sick and tired of using the same talking points, because I think it is time for us to expedite our liberation from the captivity of this junta of despot Museveni. Because right now, Eddie Mutwe is counting on us. not to be silent, but to act. So for me, I'm not going to ask a question, but I'm going to give a remedy. And this remedy can be done tomorrow. I implore our president, Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu, to call on all the MPs of NUP, including the councillors, plus the leader of opposition, Joe Senyonyi. Tomorrow, make a team and march to CMY. This is going to be a wake-up call to all Ugandans to show them that these are the MPs who are willing and ready for the protest vote we're talking about. Because protest vote has 3 phases. There is the pre-protest vote, there is the during protest vote, and the post-protest vote. So right now we're talking about the pre-protest vote. So we want to see those leaders who are not just rhetorical, but who are action-oriented. So if Despot Museveni arrests all of you, trust me, the international community is going to act. But if they arrest one person, they will not act. So His Excellency Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu, can you call on all our leaders, the councillors, MPs, leader of opposition? Tomorrow, you guys go to the front line and march. They cannot kill all of you. They cannot arrest all of you. And once they do that, it is going to attract international, community, and they will stand with Ugandans. Otherwise, if we're doing business as usual, that's what Museveni, of course, this is what he wants. In the end, we're going to, to just
Thank you.
In jail.
Thank you, Justice. A handle that goes by the name Margaret Natabi Nava. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. You guys, when you're done speaking, sorry, Natabi, when you're done speaking, I'm going to remove you as a speaker so that we create space for other people. You can continue.
It's okay. Thank you so much, Karamaji. And Judith, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Natabi. Just like the rest of the speakers, I think the operators are even laughing at us at this moment because they've reached a level of stripping us naked, sharing our photos naked on media, and again, what we are doing is just speaking about it. Mr. President, last time I saw a post of you telling Ugandans the time, like course of action. I mean, we are just requesting, sir. We are just here ready. We are requesting. Just come out and tell us, you know what, guys, we've given this government, it could be 10 hours, 24 hours, whatever. But beyond this, they've not released our people to the streets. Mr. President, sir, we are ready to do anything because they've done everything. We've looked Spark and they do everything. If they're capable of starting to share photos of people with families naked here on media, what more do we need before we get angry as Ugandans and we raise up to go and fight for our own justice? If we don't stand up and remain doing this, speaking here every day, every time, nothing is going to change. This government works on pressure. We've done protests and we've seen change. However much the change may not be that big, but let us go beyond speaking about it. Can you command us, please? And we go put it into action. Thank you so much.
Great. Anyama Alfred Berliner, you have the floor. 1 minute. Okay, if Berliner is not okay, go ahead, Berliner. Berliner is unable to speak. I will invite.
Okay. I think he's on. He's on.
Okay, go ahead. I think our brother is having a challenge. Dr. Nalokwago, my screen is crowded. Please choose someone to speak.
Had chosen the Speaker of Nakawa.
Okay, what's
he
his
had raised
handle?
his hand. At Lyombia, Godfrey. I don't know whether he's now able to speak, unmute and speak, because he's a leader and we've had some people calling out leaders. What are they doing to rally the masses to fight for the rights of their fellow citizens? So I think it was right to give him an opportunity to tell us as a speaker of a whole area. Tell us something.
Sure, that's a direct question to you. Please tell us what you are doing. Please share his name again so that we can, the production can pick him.
It is at Godi Luyombia. Right Honorable Luyombia Godfrey, that's his handle. His username, but I think it's network issue.
Okay, while that happens, we could have Nandaula Helen. Nandaula Helen. Okay, Nandaula, you have the mic. Go ahead, please. 1 minute. And after Nandaula will be Mungadi. Nandaula, are you able to speak?
Yes.
Go ahead. 1 minute.
Thank you, Andrew, for the opportunity to speak. I would like to recognize the presence of our president and the party leadership and all other leaders and everybody that's on the call.